Good morning. Time now is 11:04. Thank you for watching the Digital Weather Now. Right at the beginning, I'd like to thank you for joining us. Of course, thank you for watching WTOC News app, weather app, Roku device, Amazon Fire. Maybe you're on Twitter, on Facebook, scrolling through middle of the day kind of thing. Thanks for tuning into this. Also want to remind you that I will answer questions, at least a good chunk of them, as they come in on my phone. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing, scrolling through, answering questions. But what I'm going to cover today, weather-wise, we're going to talk about today's forecast, what's going on in detail, kicking off the holiday weekend for some, others their last and final day of the work week. So we'll talk about today. We're going to give you an update on weekend events, weekend event forecasts. We're going to give you a tropical update and a little historical tidbit that we're going to mention in here at the end before I toss you back to your Friday and you get ready to hopefully watch the news at noon. So today, right now, Safe Touch Security First Alert Live Radar. We are dry, low country coastal empire from Camden County all the way up to Chatham County and over to Beaufort County. We're dry, nothing going on, a few offshore showers. These are well offshore down near Camden County 1, about 20 miles, maybe 15 miles offshore there, trying to make a run at the beaches. So we have a very, very, very low isolated rain chance at the coast during the lunch hour, but we're going to go ahead and say go outside, eat on the patio. If you're eating lunch maybe with clients or whatever today, I think you're good to go out on the patio for that outdoor kind of lunchtime frame. Temperatures right now, with the sunshine we're seeing, of course, it's warming up pretty quickly. 82 Swainsboro, that's a cool spot, but still pretty warm. 84 Waycross, 86 Savannah, 86 Beaufort, 86 Hunter, the south side, 84 Brunswick, 85 Claxton, 83 in Statesboro. Now, you have to factor in the humidity. Bless you, Dave. You have to factor in the humidity, and that's what it will feel like outside. So probably feeling like it's in the upper 80s to lower 90s. In fact, I have forecast graphics that will show you what it currently feels like. Remember, this is the top of the 11 o'clock hour. Actual data probably taken at about 10:50, 10:55. So already feeling like 92 Savannah, 90 Jessup, 96 down in Waycross, 91 Sylvania. This will continue to heat up as we go into the afternoon. So yeah, it's going to be a hot one out there, but it's August in the southeast. And I think that's the main thing that you're going to feel today, that you're going to notice. Not that it's going to impact you, but it'll be hot, it'll be muggy out there. And eventually hot enough, you know, we have a little lid on the atmosphere now. The clouds try to grow, they hit the lid, and then they come down. You think about it like that. It may help you kind of get an idea as to the science behind it. But eventually you add enough heat, the pot is boiling enough, the lid pops off. And we're going to see just a little bit of that going on today. But the lid is on now. We are dry right now. But going into the future, again, this is a forecast model. This is something we use to look ahead to the rest of the day. It updates pretty frequently, at least, you know, once an hour. And going through the afternoon, notice how we do eventually get some, and this is actually a little bit later, a little bit further inland than earlier data indicated, but some isolated downpours here, especially along and south of the I-16 corridor, especially maybe 2 to 3 starting to pop up along I-95, and then 5, 6, 7 going to linger inland, but still diminish pretty quickly. So notice by 7:30, 8 o'clock, a few lingering showers, and these are going to be really isolated out here. Savannah Metro, I-95 corridor, beaches, much of the area, coastal empire, low country dry. Remember how kind of gloomy it was yesterday evening south of the Altamaha River? That storminess pushed a little bit further to the south and west today versus yesterday. So pausing at 8 o'clock. If you have plans outdoors, barbecuing, evening plans, maybe you have a date night tonight, go ahead and find your community where your plans are and kind of get a reference, an idea as to what may be going on. And while that's happening, go into the WTOC TV Facebook page, going to answer our first few sets of questions coming in. And loading this up. I'm sure a lot of people have questions about the weekend forecast, and we'll get to those here in just a moment. So, actually doesn't look like we have too many folks joining in today. Maybe folks are just ready for the weekend. They're already outside soaking up the sun. Nancy, thanks for watching. Terry, good morning. Denise, waving back at you. Terry, hello. Paul says, I'm riding motorcycle from Statesboro to Tybee tonight. Any rain? I think you're good this evening and tonight from Statesboro to Tybee, especially 7 to 8 o'clock. Maybe an isolated downpour. You're going to easily see it as you drive through it, and it won't last long, and that's the worst case. So I think that ride from Statesboro to Tybee actually looking pretty decent. Deborah says, making me sweat in that sweater on, Cutter. Remember, I'm indoors. I would pan the camera, but I don't want to do that right now. I am inside in a very heavily air-conditioned studio. In fact, the air conditioning vent is right above me over the Weather Center. So yes, it gets a little chilly in here. A merry hello to you. I am a little cold, not that cold, but just a little bit. China, thank you for watching. Tony up in Alaska, speaking of cold, you have a good weekend as well. Anita, hello. Hey, Lori. Hey, William. Sheila, thank you all for watching. So we've gone through today. Rhonda, hello to you. I'm not going to just leave you hanging. If you missed the first part, I will go back through to today's forecast, kind of summarizing things at the end. But I want to remind you, we're heading into a holiday weekend, the last, unofficial last weekend of summer, and a lot is going on, and we actually have a good conglomeration or like a list of some of the stuff that's going on here across the city of Savannah, the metro area. So on the WTOC Savannah Weekend app, again, this is a good resource here where you can kind of look at weekend events, and it looks like we've lost some connection here. There we go, it's back. We have a list of events, and Saria Sandlin, reporter anchor, she kind of puts these stories out, talks about what's going on, who it benefits, if it does benefit somebody, what you can do there. All of that is on Facebook. You can find Savannah Weekend, WTOC.com, and especially here in the Savannah Weekend app, really cool visuals and videos, really celebrating our area and letting you know how you can too celebrate our area and all the weekend events we have going on. And I actually have some forecasts now that I'm going to load up for you specifically for some of these events. So let's load up the 3-day forecast. Today, there is something every day. Today, tomorrow, Sunday, and of course Monday. A lot of folks probably having their own personal celebrations, maybe barbecuing out there. China wants to know it's going to be a good weekend. Thanks, Cutter. We have a little bit of rain in the weekend forecast. Cindy, thanks for watching. China, thank you for watching. Terry, hello to you. And Tiffany, waving back at you. You have a good and safe weekend too, Anita. We do have a little bit of rain to talk about, little bit to plan around. It's not a washout, but as we get Sunday, Monday, more moisture moving in from the south to southeast, a little bit of rain to talk about. So 3-day forecast. We're going to kind of like pool the events, if you will, out of the extended forecast. Today, we have the Indian Street Block Party kind of headlining it for you. Temperatures in the 80s by this point, but earlier closer to 90. So if you're out there kind of early in the afternoon, mid-afternoon, getting ready for whatever has you in that area in the afternoon, closer to 90, feeling like the mid to upper 90s in spots. Then we cool down into the 80s, maybe a little bit of a breeze going this evening. Will it rain today? Only isolated rain, and for the Indian Street Block Party in Savannah, looking pretty dry. You can probably leave the umbrella at home, but take along the WTOC weather app in case one of those little isolated downpours develops. You can be alerted to rain at the block party. Again, it can follow your location, alert you to weather happening in your specific neighborhood. Weather tips, again, drier the later it is. We're going to be dry this evening. WTOC weather app, as I just mentioned, is a pretty good resource. Another Savannah Weekend covered event that we have going on. Saturday, tomorrow, Craft Brew Fest. This is a big one. A lot of folks coming into Savannah, not just folks that live in the area, but also regionally as well. And late morning into early afternoon, that 20 to 30% chance of a pop-up shower, maybe a thunderstorm. It's really this afternoon or Saturday afternoon, 1 to 3. Remember, injecting heat into the atmosphere. Those clouds grow early afternoon, and then we get a few splash and dash showers and thunderstorms. That's the thing for Saturday. Maybe an isolated morning coastal shower, but that's probably going to be east and earlier than the time and the place of the Craft Brew Fest. And again, those details are in the Savannah Weekend app. Sunday, celebration of the season. Labor Day, classic beach bash going on here on Tybee Island. We have live entertainment 7 to 10:30. Fireworks begin just after 9. Yes, there will be fireworks on Tybee Island. They say the viewing is best from the east-facing beaches. So South Beach, really almost all the way up to North Beach, but as soon as you get around that bend, going to be a little harder to see. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s initially. I think at the beaches, even though we have scattered rain in the forecast, by this late in the day, 5, 6, 7 in the evening, a lot of that stuff is going to be a little further inland, and it will remain scattered, not going to be a washout. And definitely by fireworks time, other than the rogue little isolated shower that likes to roll in from the beaches or the ocean, and this kind of, an onshore breeze sort of pattern, aside from that, it's going to be gorgeous out there. And the chance of that occurring right there at that event during the crucial fireworks time is really low. All right, we have some more questions coming in. Tania, I hope I pronounced that correctly. I apologize if I didn't. Game day rain, morning or afternoon, go Dogs. Are you talking about game day rain here, or are you talking about at the game itself? holler back at me, Tony, and I would be more than happy to kind of break down those details. But if you're talking about celebrations here, mainly afternoon, early evening, if you're talking about up at the game, kind of similar timing there, but I just want to give you as specific a forecast as possible. All right, so that was weekend events. Other things going on in the world of weather, it is the tropics. We still have potential tropical cyclone 6. Kind of explained this yesterday. If you missed that, let's talk about it again. Amanda, it's not 100 on Sunday. It's going to be 90 in the upper 80s, lower 90s Sunday afternoon. I have a family reunion on Sunday. How's the weather look for Sunday morning around 1? Sunday morning at 1 a.m., it'll be mostly dry, just an isolated rain chance, and temperatures in the 70s. It'll be really muggy overnight, maybe some patchy morning fog, but afternoon rain chances, they're kind of scattered Sunday afternoon. All right, tropical update, potential tropical cyclone 6. What the Hurricane Center does here is they say, hey, they look at two big factors. How likely is a little area of showers, thunderstorms, a tropical wave or disturbance, whatever you want to call it, how likely is that to develop into a tropical system, depression, storm, hurricane, factor number one. Number two, how close is it to impacting land? This kind of has both of these important factors. It's very likely to develop. They're banking on it developing. 90 to 100% chances will become some sort of tropical system within the next couple of days, probably later today or tonight, if not, by tomorrow morning, midday. And also, it is impacting the Cape Verde or Cabo Verde Islands there off the coast of Africa. They're already being impacted, so they need to know ASAP whether this is going to be bad, how bad is it going to be. So they go ahead and they issue a forecast, including a path, a strength forecast, even before it's classified officially a tropical system, all in the name of preparation. Again, this is something they just started a couple hurricane seasons ago. The idea is that it will help folks prepare. They'll get the information out there even earlier and kind of in a official way like this, the Hurricane Center, that is. So it does help with preparation, but obviously the terminology and some of the lingo can tend to get lost in translation. Amanda, okay, so you're saying Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m., you will have scattered rain, more so after 1 p.m. by 2 to 3, going through 4, 5, 6. Not a washout, but a day to check radar. There will be rain scattered around the area, but it's random fashion. No rhyme or reason. They pop up, they rain a little bit, they move on, so I can't tell you exactly when and where, but afternoon, early evening, the real time to watch, especially along and west of I-95, along and east of the interstate, could be more isolated stuff, not as widespread as what we mean by scattered. Isolated is less than scattered, and then maybe a little earlier in the day, but not a bad day. And the other area we're watching, this now has an official low risk of development. Does not look impressive. In fact, there's more thunderstorm activity in the Gulf right now than there is with this actual wave, being impacted by sheer little bit of dry air and quite a bit of land interaction here, moving right over Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Some showers and thunderstorms here. We're not worried about it here. We're not worried about it really at all, but it is going to be moving off to the west, northwest, and northwest here over the next few days, generally deeper into the Bahamas and possibly through the Florida Straits, and it'll be moving into an environment once it's in that area that is slightly more favorable, especially here across the eastern Gulf, for tropical development. At the very least, some more showers, thunderstorms firing up with this. You have that over warmer water in August. Well, by then, September, definitely something you don't want to turn away from. So they have given this a low risk of tropical development. Generally, the northern, the eastern Gulf of Mexico, a 0% chance next 2 days, a low 10% chance next 5 days as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico. And I'm going to pull up the steering pattern here. Here's what is going on. High pressure and control, really, of our forecast and the western Atlantic. That's why it's been generally a little bit drier the past few days. I know generally there has been some rain, and it's been pretty warm. And the flow around is going to steer this, the flow around high pressure is going to steer this generally to the west, northwest, and northwest into the Gulf of Mexico. No direct impacts here, regardless of what this becomes, but it will help send a little bit of moisture our way, and that's part of the reason why we're going to see rain chances increase a little bit Sunday into Monday. Also, this high pressure becomes just a little bit weaker, backing away just a little bit, what we call flattening out a little bit, so it's not quite as in control of our forecast. Good morning, Tanya. Thank you. Billy, Swainsboro on Monday. Scattered rain for you. It's really afternoon, evening. And by that, I mean late afternoon, evening. So if you're grilling Monday, scattered rain around the area. Up there, it'll be that late, and highs in the lower 90s. Amanda, around Guyton, yeah, I can't tell you the exact place or time, just simply can't do that. I would be lying to you if I told you an exact place and exact time. But in general, I would say scattered rain for the Guyton area. Probably the chance on Sunday will peak early to mid-afternoon, so maybe let's say 1 to 4 or 5 p.m. It's going to be scattered, though. Not every neighborhood sees rain, so certainly worth keeping those plans, but also equally worth keeping an eye on the forecast. And I'll talk about some ways that you can do that here going forward. All right, we have a question. Laura, this is interesting. Quick question, slightly off topic. What is the difference between the Old Farmer's Almanac and the New Farmer's Almanac? Which one is more reliable? Neither are reliable. There is no scientific meteorological evidence that suggests either source is going to be particularly valuable. I believe they are two different companies, two different brands, and they say that their formulas are slightly different, but you can disagree with me all you want watching. You have a right to that opinion. I'm sure there's going to be some folks watching this right now that will vehemently disagree with me, but they're not something to bank on. Forecasting 30, 60, 90 days out is particularly difficult. Kind of like it supposedly called to snow in January, said it was going to snow again in early February. We had a record warm February, and there certainly was no snow again in our neck of the woods, February 2017. The other thing is, keep this in mind, their forecast regions, you know how we at WTOC, we forecast for the coastal empire and the low country? For example, our zone includes North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, portions of the mountains up here, so they may get it correct for Asheville, North Carolina. That does not mean our weather down here in Savannah, Georgia is going to be anything like what it is up in Asheville, North Carolina. So that's also another thing to keep an eye on. You're welcome, Amanda. Hopefully, Laura, neither one is more accurate than the other. They both are kind of a little bit of a fallacy. So I'm not going to even say which one is more accurate because technically I don't know percentage-wise. You can probably Google it and crunch the numbers, but I will tell you both are generally inaccurate. So that's kind of what the deal is. Laura wants to know, I just want a cold winter. Can you predict that? We have El Nino, likely a Modiki west-based El Nino. Not every El Nino is the same. You hear La Nina, you hear El Nino, but there's actually little sub-varieties in there, especially with El Nino. With that, and some other signals, it could be a cooler, wetter winter, yes. Maybe fall it begins, and then especially into the winter, into early next spring. But aside from that, we can't say it's going to be brutally cold or anything like that. But cooler and wetter weather is the favored pattern here going into, especially late fall, into the winter. Of course, we'll have a better idea going forward. You're very welcome, Laura. Hopefully that helps a little bit. If you have any questions, you can always go, and I'm talking to anybody here, WTOC, Cutter Martin. Even if you just want to jab me for my opinion on the Farmer's Almanac, go ahead. You can go to my Facebook page. You can give it a like, and feel free to say whatever. Good morning to you, Whitney. Hopefully your day is going great out there. So I promised at the beginning I was going to go back and talk about today a little bit more. So we gave the tropical update. We had your weekend events forecast. And we're going to jump back to what's going on right now. Safe Touch Security, First Alert Live Radar. If you're watching, maybe on your phone, sitting in your beach chair, Hilton Head, Tybee, Sapelo, St. Simons, wherever, you're looking offshore, you see those towering clouds. There are a few showers out there, but they're not really making much progress inland. I do think we have an isolated rain chance today. We do in the forecast. And going forward, I know the maps look similar, but this is different. This is not what's happening now, not what happened in the past. This is looking ahead, actually into the future, a computer model's idea what radar and what satellite may look like through the day. So between now and 2 or so, we're pretty dry, but I still think 1 to 3, those clouds growing taller, and somewhere in that window we may see our first couple of showers develop. But new data coming in, a little different than this morning, says it's a little later, a little further inland, and just as isolated as I was talking about this morning on the news at daybreak. Yvette, will it rain next Saturday? If you're talking about next Saturday, not today, I would bank on an isolated rain chance, highs seasonably warm. There's just not much change in this weather pattern. Good morning, Sherry, sorry about that, and waving at you, Deborah. So that's 5 o'clock. A lot of the things going on this evening, the Indian Street block party, beach plans, barbecue plans, pool plans, 5 o'clock. Most of us are dry. Keep the plans, do not cancel. And then even drier going into the evening. We have an onshore flow, coastal showers possible late tonight, early tomorrow, but they're isolated. They're pretty brief, and we do have a few spotty downpours in the forecast tomorrow as well. Hey, want to remind you, we actually have, well, not even remind you, just tell you about something really cool. It's kind of not a scary thing, but historically we're celebrating an anniversary today, and I'm going to be pulling up the Twitter account, and actually it's up here now. The South Carolina Emergency Management Division. Today is the anniversary. On this date in 1886, as they say, Charleston experienced a 7.3 magnitude earthquake. Our state, again referring to South Carolina here, is seismically active. Approximately 10 to 15 earthquakes recorded each year, and you can go to the scemd.org and check out earthquake stats there and their advice. Of course, photos courtesy of the USGS. And look at this, caused significant damage. I mean, this is a big-time earthquake. 7.3 anywhere, any day. That's a significant earthquake, let alone Charleston, South Carolina. And obviously building codes back in the late 1800s where they weren't necessarily aware of the risk for earthquakes there is a little bit, I don't want to say dilapidated, but they didn't build for it. And a reminder, technically, this area is still seismically active, especially the low country on up into the Midlands of South Carolina, the upstate as well. So technically, you can't ever rule it out, but we're not celebrating, but we're honoring, should say, that anniversary of that destructive earthquake there. More pictures, you can go to them on Twitter, SCEM. Also want to remind you, and I'm going to pull up a graphic here kind of explaining ways that you can check in on the forecast throughout the weekend because there are so many weekend events. The WTOC weather app. There was a video this morning detailing the morning commute forecast and kind of the gist of today. We're going to put more videos in here talking about today's weather, Saturday's weather, Sunday's weather, Labor Day Monday's weather, if there are any updates in the tropics, or if you just want to glance at what's going on. All of that is in the free, easy to download WTOC weather app, and the best thing yet, it follows you wherever you go, whether you're on the beach, barbecuing, maybe you're going up to family in Atlanta, or going to the UGA game, or any football game going on. You can check out the forecast radar wherever you are here with the WTOC weather app. So on that note, time now 11:26. We're heading cruising towards the news at noon. Chief Meteorologist Dave Turley is in the Weather Center fine-tuning that forecast, and he'll have it for you coming up. WTOC at noon.